Hello everyone, Fluffy here. Well, really didn't feel like doing a mukbang, but I told you I'd try to film every few days. So I thought I'd just get on here real quick and do a vlog. You got little man here. I know y'all have been missing him. So I thought I'd just sit here and talk a few minutes. How is everybody's week been going? Been going pretty good. Just a lot of really late nights, still trying to. I'm sleeping more after I finally get to bed, so that's kind of a plus. So I just need to start working on getting my honey to bed a little bit earlier. Yeah, so his hair is just a floofing everywhere. I don't know. He's been kind of under the weather. He was just come out of the bedroom. He usually is, y'all know, stuck to me like glue, but he went into the bedroom. I leave my bedroom door open, and he went in there to take a nap on the bed. That's not like him, but it's okay. Isn't that right, boo boo? You a good boy? Hmm? You a good boy? Yeah? He's just gonna lay right there. He's laying down on my leg in between my arm of the couch, and she was over there on the recliner. There she is. So, does anybody have a lot of plans for the weekend? I'm gonna go see my mom, I think, um, tomorrow. I haven't. Well, it's 12:15, so it is Saturday, but so technically, I'm gonna go see her later on today. I really haven't seen her um, since the weekend of my hernia issue, since the garage sale. So I really need to go see her. You take for granted that they're always going to be around, and I don't want to do that. So other than that, the you know who put my family down as references without permission. So that was really interesting, and put an old friend of mine on there, and so she denied it at first, but then apologized, and so I called the place and uh, you know let them know that no, it wasn't consensual. Oh, that the names needed to be taken off. So I'm hoping we didn't get any calls today. So uh, I think that's the highlight of my excitement. But I just been feeling pretty good filming and stuff. You see the computer right there. It's where I usually sit. That's usually up, and that's usually where I sit to film. So um, here at this house, getting the house slowly together. Um, it's 12:15 a.m. here in Texas. So, but uh, I think contracts for out of town work at my daughter's job. Remember, I just got through talking about that, and I jinxed myself. And she told me yesterday that she has an interview next week because everybody likes to go out of town on business. I guess nobody likes to stay on the home front. How you get more money if you go out of town? So you have to interview for each job. So she's got, I think Wednesday or Thursday she goes, and I asked her where, and she couldn't remember. She goes, I was just so excited that they're coming back through. She said, so, oh, but don't go anywhere. No, don't go anywhere. They love seeing you. You don't feel good. I have to take you to the vet. Hmm? I sat here so you could sit with me. Yes, boo boo. Anyway, so she said she'll find out when she goes to the interview, and then they're getting people together for a Hawaii contract. So, and it's just the upper echelon, the people that do the programming and stuff, or the assignments out of town. So, and that's in Hawaii, but they haven't started recruiting. Oh, here it goes back into the bedroom. Recruiting for the supervisory positions and stuff where my daughter is. So, um, we'll see how that goes. I would love for her to be able to go to Hawaii. That would be so incredible for her. Sad for me, but that's the selfish mama in me. Don't want her going anywhere, but she's gotta, she's 34. No, she's 33. She'll be 34 at the end of the year. Um, so, but someone had asked me about, they asked it in the comments, and it was about my coming out um, story. And I had been hesitating because I didn't want this to be a lesbian channel, Uh, I didn't want it to be the lesbian has a mukbang channel. I wanted it to be a fibromyalgia mukbang channel, and I just happened to be gay. You know what I mean? I didn't want that to be the main focus uh, of it. So it was really bugging me. Let's see, little man's not here. Just put it here. Um, but basically, and one of these days I'll say the actual, not the actual, more details uh, about how I met the wife or the soon-to-be ex-wife. But growing up, some people it's more intense of how they know. And for me, and what I told them in the comments was, for me, I always knew I was different. You know what I mean? It was like I didn't go gaga over the boys in school like my female friends did. I mean, I had to fake it. I mean, I could see that a guy was good looking, like my teenage crush was, and now I can't think of his name. He played on Mission Impossible. It'll come to me. Scott Baio, and then him, and it was always guys with baby faces, very feminine faces. Hello, that should have been my first clue, right? And so I had to fake it, I had to fake the gaga part of it, because they never really, you know. And then so the question becomes, well, how did you think about females? And it wasn't like if I were straight looking at a guy and the flutters and everything. I didn't have that either. Um, but I enjoyed hanging around the females more. Um, so I just knew I felt different. I kept thinking, why don't I react to boys like my schoolmates? And then as I got older, I would say things like, oh, if Melissa Etheridge, if I were gay, I'd probably want to date Melissa Etheridge and things like that. And at the time when I was listening to her and Katie Lang, when I would listen to their songs, it would kind of give me a funny feeling at the pit of my stomach, but I just thought I really liked their songs. And so that's how it always was. And then I had um, my aha moment really came when I met and got together with the soon to be ex. It was like, okay. You know what I mean? So, and now, I sit here thinking, would I ever get in a relationship with anyone else? And I don't know. I'm just so, I mean, I'm not even legally divorced yet. And so that would not be an option to me because I'm not, I mean, I guess it would be okay. She's in another town and or whatever, but I just don't have the desire to do that. It's like, do I need more drama? Not that the next person would be drama. It's just that I don't know. I just, I don't want to say I'm broken because I don't feel broken, And I sit here and some things I haven't heard from her since she left town, which has been great because most of the time when she would either call, text, or leave a voicemail, it wasn't pleasant. It was a short period of time where we were getting along, but as soon as I told her, or she knew, she realized that I wasn't going to let her have little man. Um, the ugliness came, and just for her, it's not liking to be told no. She can't have her do something. So I guess I should have suspected. I should have expected it, but I was hoping for better. Um, so would I ever have another relationship? I don't know. Things for me right now are, I'm concentrating on my kid, on trying to get myself as healthy as a fibro warrior can be. Does that make sense? Because I'll never be 100% completely healthy. Um, but I think you warriors know what I mean by that. Um, and I'm getting there. The gut's feeling better, and I'm trying to get in more of a routine. So, my staying up till 6 or 7, I'm getting 6, 7 hours of sleep. And you warriors know the fatigue is all the time. It doesn't matter if you get 12 hours worth of sleep or whatever, but it really is, 6 hours is better than 3 hours, even for a fibro person. So I'm getting at least 5 or 6. Um, and the last couple of nights, I didn't even have to get up and go to the restroom, which is good because that just kind of throws you off because then you have to relax again. And, you know, um, so that's good. Tooth is getting better. I've had extreme hot and cold, and it's not bothering me. So it's still cracked. So I have to be careful of things getting in there. I don't have any medical insurance, and I don't have any dental insurance. And not having it last year, I'm really getting nailed for it in income taxes. But so that's why I haven't got it repaired. But for me, my biggest thing was the pain. And because my fibro's feeling better, I'm not getting as much of the nerve pain that it feels like in the top and the bottom tooth. Because I knew that if it was just the crack in the tooth causing the problems, the roof, there's one right above it. So I figured it was nerve pain. So God, I hope I don't look big as a house leaning back like this. I should have put makeup on this jowl. Make it not look so bad. But it's me, right? I took a bath and I didn't, do my hair while it was still wet. So when I brushed it after it was almost dry, it kind of looks nasty and ratty. I don't know. So, but that's that's not really my coming out story. After the ex-wife and I, soon to be ex, decided she would come up here and move in with my daughter and I, with her son, I decided to go tell my parents. And they knew I had met somebody online. So when I went to them and told them that she was female, it wasn't well accepted. And so the bottom line was it was a shock, and they were like, give us time. Now, my mother's full-blooded German, my dad's full-blooded Mexican, um, and I was the only gay person in the family, so to speak. No, there's a few others, but they're not out, and I'm not going to out them. So, but it was give them time, and I thought that's fair because here I am in my 30s, and I'm just out, realizing who I am for the first time, and um, so the problem was for me is that they wanted uh, me to give them time, but then they didn't want her around. So I had a problem with that. So I didn't go around that much either. And so my daughter would go around and she would always constantly get, are you okay? Is everything all right? And she got sick of it. So, she didn't want to go around them that much. And of course, then they blame me for it. And then my daughter was really upset one day, so I had to call my dad and let him have it. And I'd never done that before. And my dad blamed the ex. And I'm like, no, this is all me. This is between you and me. It's nothing to do with my daughter. And I said, so, I don't know why you're harassing her, but because you keep putting pressure on her, she doesn't want to come around. It has nothing to do with me. And of course, my dad was, bless his heart, he's not here anymore, but, he was old school, and, you don't talk back to your dad. And I never really did for pretty much never did, not to my dad or my mom. And I think that's kind of what shocked him. But, and the wife was like, if you want to go, they're your parents. It shouldn't affect you just because they don't want me around. Go home and see them. And I'm like, no, because if I want to give them time. They need to adjust, but how are they going to get used to it or used to you if they don't want you around? So this went on for about a year. And at Christmas time, we didn't go. We spent Christmas Eve out of town in Houston with her family. And then, and I don't know if we stayed Christmas Day there, if we came home and had our Christmas Day, I don't remember. But it was the first time ever in my whole life and my daughter's whole life that we missed Christmas with family. And so I found out later that my dad had made the announcement that he doesn't care what it took, that he was going to have his family together again. And so it took some time, and it took my dad. We didn't live that far from my parents' house. And so it was a cul-de-sac, or it was a circle. Cul-de-sac is, an extra $100,000 on a house. And it was a rent house. So we lived like right, street, and then the circle, and then it came back up. We were like the second house right off the circle. And there was a cross street about two more houses down. I mean, if you sat on the porch, you could see people, and we would see my dad drive by in his truck. And we had this hoopty car we were constantly working on. And so then it took my dad pulling up on the curb and asking us about the car. And before you know it, he's standing on the opposite side of her, and we're all talking. And then finally, the dinner from hell, we thought, okay, let's chance it and invite him to dinner. I think they came over to our house. I can't remember. And we did the whole awkward, oh, nice weather we're having type of thing. But then after that, we started to go around and stuff. And out of respect, because I know that my father died not agreeing with it. I think I've mentioned that before. And I know my mom still, in a way, doesn't agree with it. And she damn sure doesn't agree with it now since I've been treated poorly. But he died not approving, but he loved me enough that he wanted me around. And so to do that would be to accept her. So, but yeah, that was my coming out story. And, the rest, as they say, is history. So, but, just for those of y'all that kind of wanted the story, but, the ex, she says she had crushes on girls in high school. And people my age usually, I mean, there's not everybody, but we come out late in life because we do what our family expects. You date boys, you get married, you have kids. Although I was never married to my daughter's father, he was a coworker, and um, I didn't want anybody to feel like they had to marry me. Much to my parents' chagrin, they were really upset. And I don't really think that he, wanted to marry me. But he lives in Virginia with his wife, and they have 3 or 4 kids. I can't remember. I think at least 3, but he was studying to be a minister. And he didn't want a whole lot to do with my daughter, especially when he started to try to do seminary school and everything. And I just thought that was wrong. How are you going to relate to people and, and help somebody with their house, and you don't even have, control of yours, you know. Um, and then when he found out about me, um, my coming out, he stopped child support. Uh, he said that he could not support my, what did he say? How did he say? In other words, he felt like giving me child support money was approving of my relationship with the wife. And so I kind of badmouthed him and shamed him to his family. And, um, he started paying again. But who does that? You know? And because of it, though, he did not come to her graduation, which hurt her. So that was kind of sad. And I was feeling responsible. And my daughter was like, no, Mom, he made that decision, you know. So, but it's a little bit more about the behinds of things that I can share. Um, I was corrections for like a total of like 19 years, 18 years. It's like I did it for like 9, almost 10, and then I quit for a long time. And then no job. While I took pride in all my jobs, I usually ended up in a supervisory position in most of my jobs. Um, Never felt like corrections did. I always say once it's in your blood, you go back at least once. And so I went back and I loved it. And it really hurt me when I had to quit. Uh, but I knew that if I didn't quit, that I would have been fired because in my physical state, there would have been no way that I could have passed the physical agility test. And it's not really a hard test, but with my fibro, and then when I fell with my eye, it really made me out of shape. And when I went back from the eye recovery, it was like going to be a month before I had to go do the physical agility test. And I was out of shape before I fell. And so, being even more sedentary and stuff after the fall, I just knew that there would be no way. So the wife and I talked about it, and I quit. And now she's saying that I used her and manipulated her, and I used her so that I could quit uh, the prison system. So, and I don't know if that's if she really feels that, or, you know, she really hasn't been making a whole lot of sense um, since we split up. So, but, relationship advice, I know we gave some during that collab, and I meant everything that I said. Like during the collabs and stuff, when things were good, they were great. But a lot of times to get there for me was giving in to her. And, and that'd been going on our whole relationship. And I have to take responsibility for that. And it's not all her fault because I allowed it, and so that's when I tell people, in the beginning, I was very much a yes man, very much. Anything she wanted to do, we did. Anything, we did. And then we get into fights because I would tell her, well, I really didn't want to go along with that, but I felt like I had to. And then she's like, well, that's not fair to me. You should tell me. And I'm like, yeah, but then it would get us in a fight. And then when we almost split up before, because we split up but never left the house several times. So this last time, the one that was really it for us, when I told my family, it was like, yeah, right. Even my daughter, yeah, right. Um, but I had put my foot down about certain things, and maybe I'll eventually tell you, but not now. I put my foot down on something, and Told her this is it. If it's, and so she agreed that some things would change, and they did for a while. Um, but I told her one of the things was I wasn't going to be a yes man anymore. That I would tell her right away if something bothered me. I would tell her, and 95% of the time, I guess I did. But sometimes I still gave in and was kind of a yes man. But you have to blame yourself. So I always tell people communicate in the very beginning. If you don't like it, you don't like it, and stand up for yourself. Marriage is give and take. But if it's only one person doing the taking and the other person doing the giving, it's not going to work. It's just not. And it might take a while. I mean, it took me 16 years to get sick of things. And I'm sure that there were things, and because what does Dr. Phil say? No matter how flat you make a pancake, it still has two sides. I believe that. I'm sure she has her side, and I'm sure she thinks that I'm the one that's the worst one because I can be stubborn. And I can't, I do want to get my way. Who doesn't? You know? So I'm sure that I caused some of the friction. I'm just talking about for me what I got sick of. You know what I mean? So relationship advice is stand up for what you believe in. Ultimately marriage and relationships boil down to how much you're willing to take. I mean, right? If it's how much you're willing to take or put up with. In other words, if your pet peeve is you hate socks on the floor and your loved one, whoever that may be, is constantly putting their socks on the floor, do you let it fester and drive you crazy? Can you put up with that? Can you put up with that for 50, 60 years? You know, for me, our issues weren't petty, at least not to me. It wasn't socks on the floor, but I just use that as an example. Or if it is a really bad pet peeve of yours, can you put up with that? Can you say, but I really love them and I'll just pick up the socks, or, I hope they'll pick up the socks, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, even though it's my pet peeve, I'm okay about giving in with that. Does that make sense? So, and I did, I tried to give her the things that she needed. I tried to give her the things that she wanted. Um, and it wasn't always easy, and I'm sure it wasn't always easy for her towards me either. Like I said, two sides. So that's kind of the advice, And the other one is if it's okay for you to say something, then it should be okay for your spouse or significant other to say it. You know what I mean? If it's okay for you to, when y'all had a fight, you leave the room and you slam the door, then it should be okay for your spouse or significant other to be able to slam a door. Does that make sense? Because if it's not, then maybe you shouldn't be doing it. And it's just little things like that, but it's things that, I mean, there's certain things that you'll have to establish as you go along, but you need to do it in the beginning because it's much harder to speak up about it later. Because if you've been putting up with it all those years, and you feel like a victim, you kind of have to take responsibility for the fact that you allowed yourself to be the victim for that long. And I'm not talking severe physical abuse or any kind of physical abuse or severe mental abuse. I'm not talking about that, taking the blame. Because when you get beat down like that, both physically and or mentally, that's kind of hard to get out of. And I get that. I'm talking about everyday things, things that I didn't agree with, that I think that I put up with for a long time. Shame on me for putting up with it. I should have put my foot down or done something about it. And I guess the same with her. Things that now she says or she can say that was totally horrible for her that I either did or said, well, then she needs to take responsibility also for allowing it. So I think if I ever, because right now I just can't fathom it, get into a relationship, I think I'll be harder on the next person because I'm going to establish some shit right away, um, things that I know that I won't be able to put up with or tolerate or um, compromise on. Um, so, and because I was single forever. I mean, like I said, I wasn't married to her dad, and I met the wife when she was 15 or 16. And so, I had a house full of furniture. I was buying a mobile home, um, and all these things. The only thing that was missing for me was companionship. And so, yet I think that in my desperation to have someone, I think I compromised too much for myself for what I'm not saying that evilness or whatever. I'm just saying compromised what I believed in. Um, and that's a failing of mine, I think. Um, so, you youngins out there or you oldins in a new relationship, my suggestion, and I'm nobody, I'm no Dr. Phil or Dr. Ruth or any of those relationship doctors, but um, speaking from experience, I know if there's a next go around, I'll be more picky and more forthcoming with things that bother me and to establish right away. And I would want them to do the same because then we can find out pretty much right away how much we're willing to put up with. Is it something that we can kind of, there was a show, it was a dating show, came on late at night and it didn't stay on very long. I found it interesting. And it was baggage. And they had to date, it was a dating game, and each one had like a suitcase with them, and they came with baggage, and everybody does. And so when they found out their ultimate secret baggage, like their small baggage, they would find out as the show went on. And then when they got down to the last two or something, then they revealed their big old secret, their big old baggage. And so that person would have to, oh, am I willing to accept your baggage? And so I found that interesting because it goes back down to that. Everybody has baggage. Everybody has things that they bring with them into a relationship. And it's bottom line, it comes down to what you're willing to put up with. So, but anyway, 32 minutes, and I've just been going on and on. Drank one time. It's the first time we've just sat down and had a chat. Um, so, yeah, I guess that's it. I hope this wasn't too boring. I'll probably get a whole bunch of thumbs down, a whole bunch of critique from people. But that's okay. It's my dang channel, right? So, anyway, God bless everyone. Positive vibes out to each and every one of you. Y'all take care and remember to always be kind. And I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.